Everyone, I'm Paul Talbot and I'm the Conference Director for the Storage Developer Conference in EMEA, which this year will be virtual and will take place on June the 8th. As a lead up to the event, I'm here with Alex McDonald, who's the chair for the SNIA in EMEA. Hi, Alex.
Hi, Paul.
And I'm here to ask Alex some questions about the event, particularly the challenges of evolving the event into a virtual event from a physical event. So Alex, let's kick off. For those people who may not have attended SDC before, can you describe what the Storage Developer Conference is all about, please?
Sure. It's the Storage Developer Conference is SNIA's flagship technical education conference. It's built by storage developers for storage developers. As SNIA is the leading trusted authority in storage, we encourage global audiences to these events, which take place in the US, in India, and in EMEA, to provide a platform for storage developers to come together for education and to share knowledge and to build partnerships, which is actually a really important aspect of any conference, is the sharing of knowledge and partnerships, those hallway chats. If you're working as a data storage developer, you should really be participating in this.
So the pandemic has forced us into going virtual this year. So what can we expect from SDC EMEA now that we're not going to be physically in Tel Aviv?
To an opportunity, believe it or not. I think it's one of the big pluses that have come out of this is the ability to do these kind of conferences any place, any time in the world. So we're going virtual on June the 8th. We may extend into June the 9th. Going virtual has meant a change to what we spend, which is a lot less. So it's good news for the sponsors because the sponsorships become a little cheaper.
Yeah, sure.
We're going to have the same great content. We're going to have some really high quality speakers. That's true of virtual events as it is real events. And we're expecting a lot more delegates, especially from a wider European audience, because really at the end of the day, virtual attendance allows you to get the best quality education and some really fascinating conferences without physically having to leave home and travel to some far and distant place and sit in a conference room. So I think there are a lot of benefits here. We've got a really great event platform that we're going to be using. Any of you who have attended SDC India will have experienced it, and delegates seem to love it. And we're also planning to add some really special extra events. We're going to have an SMB interoperability lab, which was a huge success last year, and a persistent memory workshop, which we've been running over the years as part of SNIA.
So the SMB lab, Alex, we normally hold that physically. It's normally quite an active room and a quite active session. That's going virtual as well, right?
That's correct. It is.
Okay. So does going virtual present any unique challenges, and what do you see happening, let's say, for next year and future years? What's your expectation?
I think going virtual, one of the big challenges of going virtual has been to try and find a platform that works for us, the one that gives us the kind of features that we're looking for and is as close as is possible, as is humanly possible, to being there in person. It's not been easy, but we've taken advantage of work done by colleagues in SNIA India. We had a great time in last December, and we plan to replicate that experience with the same platform. The key elements are making it easy for people to get access to the content, obviously.
Yeah.
To be able to ask questions, the interactivity with the speaker, I think, is an important aspect of this as well.
Yeah, that networking, yeah.
And the real time in particular, being able to do that in real time when the presentation is on, being able to engage the speaker. And just a relaxed and friendly environment for delegates and speakers to get together as they would in hallways and outside the main presentation sessions or after they've been delivered.
Yeah, that's the key to a successful event, that networking. Yeah, I agree.
And I think one of the things we need to look forward to in coming years are hybrid events. You know, yeah, people really do want to do physical events. I understand that. And that's a key part, I think, of any event planning for the coming years. We need to be thinking of physical again. But I do see a big advantage in running hybrid events, and I would like to see more events that not only allow you to be physically present, but also perhaps your colleagues and people who can't travel as readily to be able to make that, if you like, virtual trip to a conference of some considerable value.
Yeah, good. So let's talk about the agenda. What subjects do you see that are likely to be at the forefront related to storage technology? What's the hot topics?
Well, there are some really interesting new topics over the last 12 to 24 months that I think are going to get a much bigger airing. The first is computational storage. That's storage that has a small amount of compute power on it to be able to undertake data transformation locally where the storage is, where the data is residing, rather than having to ship it back to some central data center to process it. So I think we're going to see a lot more in terms of computational storage. NVMe, particularly over fabrics, because that's been a big area of discussion over the last few years, is how we get the obvious advantages of NVMe over more traditional methods like SCSI, over fabrics, to do them over networks and to make that NVMe, make NVMe really shine in the storage environment over a fabric. Persistent memory, which has been a topic for a number of years now. In fact, we've run a persistent memory summit, and I expect to see some of those talks. And of course, we're running the persistent memory. Are we calling them hackathons, Paul? Or are we calling them?
I think they're still called hackathons. Yeah, I haven't heard any name change. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're running one of those, a hackathon. I think we're going to see an increasing number of people talking about AI and ML in terms of storage, because that's a big push at the moment. AI and ML are changing, if you like, our data landscape and allowing us to process literally vast quantities of information without reference to requiring much human intervention and getting a huge deal of value out of it. And last but not least, I think we're going to see more on storage security. It's sometimes been a little bit of an afterthought, and I think storage security is going to be increasingly important. And also things like, technologies that we perhaps hadn't considered before, like blockchain. I think there's going to be discussions of that as well. So all in all,
the rise in ransomware and the impact on data protection. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and also having the ability to guarantee transactions, and the ability to blockchain provides you with a great deal of if you like data security, in the sense that we know that the data we're putting down really is the data that we put down. It gives us that kind of guarantee. I think the interesting thing here is, though, that these are all relatively new topics. Storage is not just, block and object and et cetera, we're far beyond that now.
Yeah, and I agree. And with all the previous SDCs we've seen over many years, we've seen a lot of innovation and a lot of new technology come to the fore in these conferences. So I'm expecting the same again. Okay. So key question then, I'm a storage developer. I wasn't able to travel to Tel Aviv for previous years. Why would I attend now?
Well, basically because it's the best place to learn what's going on in the storage world. And if you're in any way involved in it, this is a real opportunity to hear from experts in the field and to meet your fellow workers in this really interesting area of technology currently. And it's the perfect opportunity to ask questions, to interact with colleagues from competitive companies in a non-threatening environment. This is a vendor neutral. What we're doing here is promoting technologies. We're not promoting solutions or products. These are technologies that we're promoting. And I think there's a huge deal of value in talking and understanding and learning about all these new technologies that are coming along in a vendor neutral environment. Okay,
so it sounds interesting. Would it cost me much to attend?
Not as much as it would if you got a flight and stayed in a hotel in Tel Aviv.
No.
It's going to be a lot less than that.
Yeah.
This year we're going to be pitching the tickets at around about US $30, which is incredibly reasonable. I mean, if you can't get that expensed on a credit card or whatever, it's a really small, allows us to cover our costs.
Yeah.
You know, it's a fantastic $30 for this level of education is second to none. I can't. Goodness, I mean,
Tell your friends. Yeah.
Tell your friends. It doesn't get much cheaper than this. You know.
Okay. Great. Thank you, Alex. Any final thoughts before we wrap up here?
I think the other thing is there are other ways to get involved. Be a sponsor and secure a speaking slot as part of the package of sponsorship. Sponsors are really important to us in making sure that we can execute these conferences. Submit a presentation proposal. If you've got something to say that's interesting, and it's not necessarily on those 5 topics we talked about earlier, it could be others, anything to do with storage at all. If you've got something interesting to say, this is the place to say it. And there is actually a call for presentations process. And lastly, if you simply want to attend as a delegate, do so. I can't more strongly encourage you than to get that, you know, $30 spent and registered on the site. And we're going to look forward to seeing you there.
So where would I be able to get more information, Alex?
So I'm going to read this out. Perhaps we need to flash it up on something, but it's www.SNIA.org/events/SDC EMEA. And I'll read the last bit out. It's SDC EMEA. And that's the event website. That's where all the goodness starts. And you can do all the things that I spoke of earlier, like the sponsorship, like submitting paper, or just simply registering for attendance.
Okay, great. So basically go to the SNIA.org website and look for the events tab and you'll find it. Yeah.
Excellent. That's
fantastic.
It exactly.
Wonderful. Thank you, Alex. Thank you for your time. Look forward to seeing you at SDC EMEA. And I'm like you, I'm also looking forward to getting back to physical events, but virtual it is this year. So thank you for answering the questions, and yeah, thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, Paul. Take care.
Take care.